Hello ulit guys and welcome muli sa iAssist TV. So bilang pagpapatuloy sa ating discussion sa simple curves, ngayon naman ay ide-derive natin yung mga formulas na kailangan para isolve yung mga distance elements na na-discuss natin in the first video. Okay? So, paalala ko sa inyo, nagagamit tayo dito ng ilang mga concepts from geometry and trigonometry. So, konting review tayo. Basic SOHCAHTOA lang naman to at saka ratio and proportion ng circle. Okay? So, ang una nating kukuhanan ng formula ay ang tinatawag nating tangent distance. Ayan. So, ang tangent distance natin ay dito sa diagram na ito, di ba? Gaya ng nasabi natin kanina, ang tangent distance natin is this. Ito. Ayan. T. Okay, T ang ginagamit natin. And also, equal yan dito. Dito, sa distance na ito. This is also T. Yan. So, pag hiniwalay natin, para makuha natin yan, and ito ano yan right angle. Para mahanap natin si T, this one, ang gagamitin natin ay etong triangle na ito. Yan. Hiniwalay na natin. Ito yon. Okay? So, this is point P, this is point D, this is point O. So, this is triangle ODP. Okay? Nandito yung ating circular arc, at yung ating radius, ating tangent, at syempre yung angle natin na itong I over 2. Okay. So, paano natin isosolve yung ating T? So, alam natin na ito is, right angle kapag diniretso, no? So, ito din, right angle din yan. Ayan. So, dahil alam natin si I over 2 at alam natin si R, ang hinahanap natin si T. So, pwede natin gamitin si R, si angle, at si T. So, kung gagamit tayo ng trigonometry, what is T? Itong line na to with respect to this. Hindi ba yan ay opposite? Okay? Opposite to. Hanapin natin si T ha. So that is opposite over what is this? What is this? This is what? This is the adjacent side. Since this is 90 degrees and opposite the 90 degrees is the hypotenuse or the longest side of the right triangle. Therefore, this is the opposite side and this is the adjacent side. Familiar. So ito kasi, ang gagamitin natin dyan is the tangent of theta. Okay? Where your theta, okay, this is I over 2. Your opposite is your T, and this is your R. Therefore, tangent of I over 2 is equal to the opposite side, which is T, all over the adjacent side, which is R. Therefore, R tangent of I over 2 is equal to the tangent distance. Ganun lang siya kadali. Basic lang talaga, trigonometry. Kailangan nyo lang balikan yung basic trigonometry nyo para ma-derive nyo yung mga formulas for simple curve. So again, you use tangent, opposite over adjacent, and then perform the necessary manipulations to arrive at what you're looking for, which is in this case, tangent. Okay, so the formula for the tangent distance would be the radius multiplied by the tangent of I over 2. Okay, that's it. Next, after ng tangent distance, ang hahanapin naman natin is the long chord. Okay? So, the long chord is the distance, the long chord, LC is equal to the line DB. Right? Ito yan, D to B. However, sabi ko kanina dun sa video natin, sa first video, etong line na to is a perpendicular bisector. Therefore, this line is congruent to that line. DF is equal to FB. Therefore, kung hanapin natin si LC gamit itong triangle na ito, yan, ito siya. Magiging LC over 2 dahil ito ay LC over 2 eh. And as well as this, LC over 2. Now, you have your R again here. R ito. And you have your angle I over 2. So, makakakuha ulit tayo ng right triangle and makakagamit ulit tayo ng trigonometric identity. Okay? Dito, ang trigonometric function na gagamitin natin since we are looking for LC over 2, which is in this case opposite ulit. No? This is opposite. Over the R in this figure is not adjacent anymore since that is opposite the 90-degree angle. So this is your hypotenuse. And from SOHCAHTOA, this is SO, meaning that would be the sine of the angle. Where your angle is I over 2, your opposite side is LC over 2, and your hypotenuse is your R. Therefore, substituting the given values, ang magiging equation natin is LC over 2 over R is equal to sine of I over 2. Okay? Simplifying further, this will be multiply both sides by 2, by r. Okay? Multiply both sides by r. And we will arrive at, makakancel natin ito. Cancel, cancel. And then, ang matitira sa atin is LC over 2 is equal to R sine of I over 2. Okay? So, multiply again by 2, makukuha na natin yung ating LC, which is LC is equal to 2R sine of I over 2. That will be our equation for the length of the chord using the radius R. So, kung mapapansin nyo, dito sa tangent, R at I lang ang kailangan mo para mahanap mo si T. Dito rin sa long chord, R at I lang. No? Ito, R at I lang ang kailangan mo hanapin para makuha mo si long chord. So, nakakuha na tayo ng insight na R and I are very important elements of the curve. Kasi maraming distances, maraming elements ng curve na sa kanila nagbe-base. Okay? O, dito naman tayo sa middle ordinate. Sa middle ordinate, ang sabi natin, ang middle ordinate is middle, the middle distance, this is M. Yan. Okay? And this is R. Okay? So, kung itong buo na to is R at ito ay M, therefore, yung distance na to is R minus M. Tama ba yun? Yes, tama po. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, pag pumutol tayo ulit ng triangle, no? Dito, hindi na triangle, puputulin natin isa ng sector, pero kasama si M. Okay? Ito yung makukuha natin. There is R, R minus M, M, which is this. Dahil ito ay R, maminusan mo ng M yung distance na to. This is R minus M. And your angle I over 2. Okay. Ano kaya ang gagamitin nating dito? Trigonometric function para mahanap natin si M. So, mag-focus tayo dito sa ating triangle na ito. Yan. So, with respect to this angle I over 2, what is R minus M? That is the adjacent side. And your R is still opposite the 90 degrees, therefore it is your hypotenuse. Therefore, this is so cosine of the angle, which is I over 2. The adjacent side is R minus M, and the hypotenuse is your R. Okay? Substituting to this, therefore, that will be R minus M all over R. Is equal to the cosine of I over 2. Okay. Therefore, multiplying both sides by R para makancel natin si R na nasa ilalim and para ma-isolate natin si M na nandito rin. Ito para malipat natin or magawa natin ang paraan. We multiply both sides by R. So, ang mangyayari, magiging R minus M is equal to R cosine of I over 2. Now, para malipat ito, mapaging positive itong si M, ililipat natin siya sa kabilang side and then itong ililipat din natin sa kabilang side. Ngayon, ang mangyayari, that will become R minus R cosine of I over 2 is equal to M. Simplifying further, this will become R multiplied by 1 minus cosine of I over 2 is equal to M. And that will be your equation for the middle ordinate M. And the same with the other distance elements kanina, R and I lang din ang kailangan mo to compute for the middle ordinate M. The next is the external distance E. So from my explanation in the previous video, external distance E is the external distance. Ibig sabihin, sa labas ng circular curve, which is this distance. That is E. Now, in order for us to compute for E in terms of R, kukuhanin ulit natin itong triangle na ito. Itong right triangle na ito. Ito. The right triangle ODP. Okay? Which is this triangle. Okay? You have R, and E. Therefore, this will be R plus E. Magiging ganun yan. Okay? So, anong trigonometric identity na naman ang gagamitin natin? Since ito yung 90-degree angle natin, etong side na to is the hypotenuse. So, ibig sabihin, meron tayong R, which is adjacent to this angle, and we have the hypotenuse. Therefore, ang gagamitin ulit natin is the cosine of the theta, where theta is I over 2, the adjacent side is R, and the hypotenuse is R plus E. It makes sense kasi yung R, yung hypotenuse dapat mas malaki sa adjacent side. R plus E is greater than R. Okay? Considering na si E ay distance. Positive naman yan, walang distance na negative. Okay, let's substitute. Therefore, r over r plus e is equal to the cosine of the angle I over 2. That's it. Now, simplifying further, pag binaliktad natin ito, okay? Balik na rin natin yung buong equation, raise natin to negative 1. So, mapupunta sa numerator yung r plus e, ito sa ilalim, tapos ito magiging ano? Ano ang kabaliktaran ng cosine? Hindi arc cos, ha? Ano ang reciprocal ng cosine? That is secant of I over 2. Okay? So, r plus e is equal to r secant of I over 2. Okay? Simplifying further, that will become that will become e is equal to r secant I over 2 minus r. Diba? Lipat natin tong r sa kabila, magiging ganon. Therefore, e is equal to r multiplied by secant of I over 2 minus 1. And that is the formula for the external distance e. That's it. Next, the length of the curve. Dito naman sa length of the curve, in the previous, ang ginagamit natin puro trigonometry. Dito gagamit tayo ng geometry of circles. Okay? Ratio and proportion in order to solve for our LCU. Sa LCU, ang kailangan lang natin is this. The angle I, the central angle I, and the radius R. Okay? Paano natin i-compute yun? Tingnan natin. Okay? Etong si I, angle I is equal to the LCU. Ay, equal yan sa anong angle ang equal sa isang buong revolution, that is 360 degrees. Right? So, if I is to LCU, therefore 360 degrees is to how many? That is 2 pi r. Okay? So, tingnan natin. Therefore, 2 pi r I is equal to 360 degrees LCU. Divide both sides by 360 degrees. This will cancel. Ang matitira lamang ay yan. This 2 pi r I over 360 degrees is equal to LCU. However, in this case, pwede natin i-cancel si 2 pi tsaka si 360. Dahil ang 2 pi in radians ay isang full revolution. Basically, gagawin natin itong radian degrees. Ay radian measure of angle instead of degrees. So, i-multiply natin dyan sa pi over 180. Okay? Isang pi is equal to 180 degrees. And then, we can cancel na this 2 pi and this 360 degrees. Therefore, the formula for LCU is equal to 2, not 2. That is Ri pi over 180. That's it. So, by virtue of ratio and proportion, si LCU ay part ng circumference. Si I ay part ng 360 degrees. Ganun lang yon. Again, si LCU ay part ng 2 pi r kasi arc siya. Pag binuo natin to isang circumference niya, that's 2 pi r. Ngayon naman si I ay part lang din ni 360 degrees. So, we can use ratio and proportion to solve for this. Okay, so let's proceed to the degree of the curve using the chord basis. So, pag sinabi natin chord basis, again, dito siya magbe-base, no, sa chord. Kaya, magkakaroon tayo ng isang right triangle since this is perpendicular, no? So, this is 10 meters. This is 10 meters as well. Now, if we're going to make it a triangle, okay, yan. Ayan. Triangle ba? Yan mukhang apa. Ayan. Yeah, let's assume that is a right triangle. And you have R, and you have your D over 2, ha? Take note, D over 2, not D, since biniyak ulit natin yung yung triangle para maging right triangle, no? So, this is 10. So, what we're looking for is what? D. But we have an opposite side and a hypotenuse. So, opposite side and a hypotenuse. That is sine of D over 2. Okay? So, in order for you to find your opposite side is 10, your hypotenuse is R. Therefore, 10 over R is equal to sine of D over 2. Okay? Therefore, you have sine of 10 over R is equal to D over 2. So, to find D, you need to solve for two arcsine of 10 over r. That will be our formula in finding d in terms of the radius r. Okay? Next, the arc basis. Ito naman arc basis, medyo madali ito. Ratio and proportion lang ulit. Okay? So, d is part of 360 degrees. Ba? D is to 360. Therefore, 20 is to 2 pi r. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Si D ay parte ng lahat ng angle ng circle dahil one complete revolution that's 360 degrees. Si 20 naman, ang parte naman siya ng circumference. And ano ang formula ng circumference? That's 2 pi r. So let's find D. Therefore, D is equal to 20 multiplied by 360 all over 2 pi r. And when we compute it numerically, 20 times 360 over 2 pi is equal to what? 1145.916 all over r. Therefore, that is the formula for what we call the degree of the curve arc basis. That's it. Okay, next. Last but definitely not the least, we're going to compute the degree of the curve using the length of the simple curve. Okay? So again, here, we're going to use ratio and proportion. How? How? Let's see. Okay? LCU is part of what? LCU is part of what? LCU is part of I. No? LCU is to I. Yung angle na I, ang tinuturo niya sa LCU. So, lagay natin I. Equal daw ito sa, ano naman yung tinuturong ang length nitong D? So, that's 20. Okay? Tinuturo naman siya ni angle D. Therefore, D is equal to 20I over LCU. Okay? Where your I is in degrees. Yan. Yan na yung ating mga formula. So, pag sinama rin natin, eto siya lahat. Okay? The simple curve formula is composed of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 formulas totally na madederive nyo naman. Babalikan nyo lang talaga yung trigonometry and circular geometry or yung geometry ninyo ng ratio and proportion. And that will be all on this video. So, sa susunod na video, we're going to apply these formulas in solving real problems. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching, classmates. If you have questions, clarifications, or suggestions, you can contact me at issstv@gmail.com or at trussell.rt@gmail.com. You can also send me a private message. Just visit fb.com/trussell.rt.